Welcome to Yeshiva Das, Shir sponsor Lui Nishma Sam Yaakov Shalom and Leah Basitzchok. We're holding in Avoda Zara Daf Ayin Beis. We are in the Amud Aleph, 5 lines at the top of Amud Aleph. It says the Gemara, Ayin Beis. Ha'u Gavro, Domer Lechavrei. There was this man who told his friend. What did he tell him? He says, so he says, if I'm going to sell the field to anyone, I'll sell it to you. He gave him a commitment. I'm not selling the field right now. I'm not selling now. But if I am selling, you will be the buyer. Right? But then he went and he didn't keep his word and he gave it to somebody else. The first one is Kohen. First one is the one who gets the kid. Now, Rashi explains that we're talking here, they did a kinyan. They did a kinyan. Because they didn't do a kinyan, so what is it? Maybe it's a mishpara. Mishpara means that someone was choyz b'midibur. But they did a kinyan. Rashi only did a kinyan. So the Acharim were struggling to understand if they did a kinyan, so what's going on over here? So it's a kinyan which is conditioned. The kinyan it's not, so that's how much is considered. Do you see that retroactively kinyan works, or it's working only lehabo? And this is where the Acharim come in the discussions, understanding different shittas of the Rishonim over here, how exactly this kinyan works. Is it a kinyan? Which kinyan is it? Some Rishonim learn it's not a kinyan. Some Rishonim has to do with it, it's a commitment, because you have a commitment to do it. And so really, there's a few shittas over here to understand I didn't understand this inyan, but at least Rashi learns that it was a kinyan over here, and the kinyan was not mechad because it wasn't a kinyan right away. It was a kinyan that we were doing if I'm going to sell it. So therefore, there's a taino. Once I'm able to do the kinyan, I should be able to. I'm the one who gets it before anybody else. So the Gemara continues. So I just realized now this one is not on. Sorry. Okay. So continues the Gemara, it says, we didn't go, he didn't make up a sum. He didn't tell him, I'm going to sell it to you for this and this amount of money. So if we didn't make a sum, it's not a true thing, it's not a real thing. Right? In order to have some kind of transaction, you must have a sum that you agree upon. That makes it serious. That means we agreed I'm going to buy this field for $200,000. But if we didn't make up any sum, so there's not a real transaction. Where do we find this concept that you have to make up a sum in order to be kohen? It says, this is our Mishnah. Mishnah is someone who sold his wine to a goy. If he made up the money before he measured it, why? Because once he made up a price and then he went and did a measure, so now it's not considered to be yain nesech because the guy bought it before he touched it. What if he measured it and he did not make up any money? Why? It's considered to be what? Yain nesech. Why? Because if he didn't make up a sum, there's no kinyan over here. So you see, the making up a sum is what determines if it's a kinyan or not. So what am I saying? So when look at the kamino, I just proved to you. If I didn't do a psik, if I didn't make up a sum, that's not a kinyan. Says the Gemara, maybe yain nesech is different. Meaning, by yain nesech, I'm saying that if there was no psika, there was no kinyan, the wine is yain nesech. We're machmir. But in a regular kinyan, maybe even without making up a sum, it's going to be good enough. I mean, it's going to be considered to be a good kinyan, even though you did not make it up. So the Gemara says that's why we don't have a raya from the case of our Mishnah.
How's that a chumrah? What does it mean?
The chumrah is that you're saying that there was not a kinyan, and Mimela the wine is yain nesech.
It's a chumrah because it's going to turn because the din is the wine is going to be awesome.
Right. Yeah.
It's not the kinyan. Whether it's a kinyan or not a kinyan is not a
right. The kinyan, I mean, the fact that I'm considering
by making it not a kinyan,
by making it not a kinyan, it's right. It's not a direct chumrah; it's an indirect chumrah.
I don't understand.
Yeah. Toshma Doma Avidi Baravin Uvdo Avo Berav Chizdo. There was a story in the house of Chizdo Beravuno, and the story that Chizdo had where he was Beravuno regarding the similar case. Upashtim Adnan Moshe Chamorov or Poyalov. V'yichnisam the Torah Beisoy. Someone brought in his donkey man and his workers. Brought them in. And they were holding Tavua. This is, remember, we learned this in Masechet Bo Metzia. So these workers are holding on to themselves grain and different things that they worked for. So he pulls them in. It doesn't matter. He measured. He made up a sum. Now make a sum. Why is that koine? Because human beings are not nikra b'mashiach. And everything that's on top of the human beings is what? The human beings are considered to be, whatever's on top of them is bottled to them. And because he's not koine them, he's not koine what's on top of them. They can both they can change their mind. But so he unloaded the donkey men and the workers. And he put whatever was on their shoulders on the floor. He made a psalm before he measured. Once they made up a psalm, it's a good kinyan. He measured, even the Chiddush, as Rishon put down, is even though he already measured. It looked like he's very serious about it. But they didn't make up a sum. Here you see the idea that without making up a sum, it's not a kinyan. This is a big yisoid. A lot of times, I'm going to continue on to bring another example. But sometimes a person makes up a similar case that someone says, okay, I'm going to sell this to you, or something like that. Even though maybe they did a kinyan sudar, whatever the kinyan they did, it's not going to be considered anything if I don't know what's the value. I need to know what the value is. I need to know what it is. What do we make up? I made up that I'm going to buy for you what? I need to know what it is.
So this is in every case in Mashiach, like whenever the Gemara, I mean, we don't talk about it here, but like every Gemara that talks about Mashiach, then is there, we come out, there has to be...
Yeah, so I think the one exception, if I remember correctly, is when you have a number that it's it's very known number. Everybody knows that, the wheat, it costs in the market around $2. So I'm saying, okay, that's what you made up, whatever the market price is. But if it's something which is, you have to make up a sum, so then no.
Because the Gemara never just talk about, but only over here.
This Gemara we're saying Mometzia, the same Gemara. The Gemara with the Chamarv, having Mometzia as well. Yeah. Right. So then you see Rashi, they bring you in the Likutei Rashi. The Rashi is from Mometzia. So here, he is much clearer. He says, if I sell this land, I'm going to sell it to you for $1 million. We made up a sum. Also, now he went and he sold to somebody else for 120. So sell what's like a Kanakam, I'm sorry. The first one was going to why? We made up that you're selling it to me. Now, the other guy is he's giving more. It doesn't matter. We made up. It's like what Rav Kahana understands that this sale is a final sale. So this goes back to the discussion.
They made a kinyan here also?
They made a kinyan. And that's why many of the Rishonim, that's really the discussion of Rishonim, the two opinions over here. Kahana learns is a full kinyan. We made up a sum. It's done. Just I said, I'm giving myself the option not to give it to you yet. I'll decide when I'm doing it. I'll decide when the kinyan is chal. The way there's a k'tzais regarding mikan. It's a kinyan. The kinyan was started but didn't finish until it comes to there. That's what Kahana l'chor understands. We started the kinyan. We did everything done, but I'm not giving it to you yet. What are you waiting for? Well, meanwhile I'm enjoying it. I have the option when to decide that the kinyan will be chal. Once I decide the kinyan is chal and once I'm willing to sell it, it's done.
Can he change his mind?
No, of course he can't change his mind.
No, not the mochir. Buy.
L'chur also. I'm not sure. I don't think so. Of course, I think l'chur to have Kahana, it's a done deal.
He forced him to buy it now?
Yeah, it's ready. He already did the kinyan.
You forfeit the mortgage. So mortgage is deposit.
Meaning. Yeah, he's chayav b'chor the moment.
With the deposit, that's
Yeah.
all. So why that's it.
Has to give the money. In the Mashiach, he did the Mashiach. He did a kinyan, not Mashiach. He did a kinyan. He made money. Matkal of Yaakov and Apikoid as high Zuzi and Su. Says no. Here's different. Here's Zuzi and Su. Why Zuzi and Su? He says I don't want to sell it. I made up. I have a condition. I don't have to sell it to you if I don't want to. I don't want to. I'm not interested in selling it. Oh, what about why you sold it to the other guy for $120? That I had no choice. I need $120. I need the extra money. So if I get the full money, I'm selling it. If not, I'm not. I gave you the option to sell for $100, but only if you're going to be if I want to sell it for $100. I don't want to sell it for $100. 120 is really so I need the money, but not 100. So I was not really interested. So the more vehicles, so that's so we're asking that way. Now another thing. This seems to be, by the way, now that we mentioned this sugi came in because we had a raya from our Mishnah that has to do with Pesach. So we already mentioned this. Now we're mentioning other things that they made up, they agreed upon. He says, we're gonna agree that I'm selling you this for the price or the value that will be praised by the way three people do it. The way it's normal for 3 people to do it. I feel a tray migoit lasso. Even 2 out of 3. Why? Shari mitlosa means it's a beis din. It's considered to be like a beis din. Beis din, you don't need to have everybody agree. It could be 2 judges say one thing, 1 judge say something else. Go basarayv. So when I say shari mitlosa, means the normal way that 3 people do, which means a beis din. But if he said kede'am mitlosa, I want 3 people to say the value that I'm talking about. Ade'am mitlosa. I need them to say it. I need all 3 to say it. If he said Kedeshayim Barabah, I want 4, we don't have a basin of 4. Regular basin is 3. Ada'am Barabah. So of course he means to say, I want all 4 to say the value. Of course, if he said clearly, meaning if he says 3, it means basin. If he says 4, that means he wants all of them to agree. Because if not, I would say 4, just say 3. So I don't want basin. I want all 4 opinions. I want more people. So they want all 4. He says, I want it like it's being valued or praised by 3. It came 3 and they valued it, they praised it. You know, I don't trust these 3. I want other 3s that are much more, they're bigger experts. You can be me'akev in it and say, we agree to 3, that's I want to do it.
Did he agree to those first 3? Or
No, he just said any 3. And
the other guy, the other Baldin just brought any 3.
The other Baldin says, I don't want these 3, I want different 3s. So he says, you have the right to say, I want better 3s.
It's not like that he agreed to something, then he changed it.
No, he just questioned, what does 3 mean? I want the best 3. How do you know? You're saying your 3 are better. Maybe my 3 are better. Like, why you decide your 3 are better? Passing this way that you can't just say I want to be my own 3. We got 3. We said 3 as Ramosha mentioned, meaning I mean to say that it should be any 3 that are good enough. So the Mishnah. Now we're getting into the sugya that was mentioned a few times before, and now it's a big sugya regarding here, which is the sugya of nitzuk. Nitzuk means the pouring. If I take a cup and I pour into another cup, so I have the flow, the stream, connecting the 2 cups. That's called nitzuk. So So the mashpech is the funnel. So one, he took the mashpech and he modded, which means really he poured wine into the container of the guy. Then he goes, he takes the same funnel and he puts in the wine to Yisrael. The same funnel is being used for both. So the only time it's also is only if there's a little bit of wine, there's a little container. I mean, in the funnel, there's a little a place where the wine could be. Meaning the end of the funnel, there's a little bit of a space where the wine stays.
Like a lid.
like a lip. The lip holds the wine. Then it's usher. Why is it usher? We'll see. We'll get to the Gemara. We'll see why. Because it's not understood as usher. Right now, it's putting wine. Mashma, the original wine is not a yain nesach. Just once it goes into the kli of the goy, it becomes yain nesach. So why the wine, the funnel is yain nesach? That's what we have to get to. So he says, Hamayra mikli al kli, someone who pours from one vessel to another, et sheiru mimena mutar, et sheiru teicha asur. The kli above is mutar, and the kli below is asur. Again, we'll have to see what makes it asur, right?
The bottom belongs to the goy?
Oh, that's part of what we understand. As Rashi points out right away, we're talking about a goy who's pouring. The goy is pouring, and he's causing this to be yain nesach. And what way makes yain nesach? Mikoicha. The fact that he's powering it makes yain nesach. So the Gemara is going to ask, so why the original wine in the bottle has become yain nesach? So we'll get to that. Says the Gemara, Tran also. We learned over there. If you remember this, as we had this in Maseches Gittin, Hanitzoik ve'akatafros ve'amashket refeach and echibur le'tumah v'lo l'tayru. So nitzoik, as we just mentioned, pouring from one to another. You have a stream of water, of liquid, going from one to another. Katafros means that you have a slope, and you have water going from the top of the slope to the bottom of the slope, going down. It's not in the air; it's on the ground, just as a slope, and it connects to two sides. What is it referring to? The Gemara says l'tumah l'tahara. L'tahara means for the mikvah. Can I connect two parts of a mikvah with a nitzoik or a katafros? And the tumah means that you're connecting. There's tumah on one side, and you want to connect the tumah to the other side. Umashket tefeach. What's a mashket tefeach? Mashket tefeach means water, which if you touch it, you get wet. But if you're going to take your hand and touch something else, it won't make it wet. So mashket tefeach means that it wettens one stage, not two. Mashket tefeach al min naslat piach means it makes you wet. If I put my hand to the water, and then I take this hand and put it over here, this will be wet. But if it's a very dry place, it's very, very little amount, I touch it, it becomes a little wet. If I put it somewhere else, it doesn't become wet. That's called tefech. So that's also regarding the chibur. So nitzoy katafos mashket tefech. These three things. Some Rishonim want to learn the mashket tefech is the explanation of nitzoy v'katafos that I treat nitzoy v'katafos like mashket tefech. Okay, so they want to learn the Rambam. Enu chibur lo l'tumah v'lo l'tar. That's our connection. Hashboirin chibur l'tumah l'tar. What's hashboirin? Rashi says that hashboirin means a crack in the ground. Now, what it really, the lush of hashboirin that we know throughout Shas, what's hashboirin? Hashboirin is when you have a mikvah that is not flowing. It's called hashboirin. Standing water. So if I have a standing water, then it's a connection. It connects. Whatever is in there connects. So that will be a chibur. But nitzoy katafos and mashket tefech is not. Rashi brings over mashket tefech means that if the tameh, going tumah, is touching the mashket in between, it won't make the two sides tameh. Now, Omar Avuno nitzoy katafos.
Talking about you touch the hashboirin, or you touch one of the two sides.
No, not the hashboirin. Hashboirin is a different case. I mean the mashket tefech case is talking about.
No, I guess I was asking back on the.
No, so the hashboirin, as I think it's when they're together in the same place as hashboirin.
Oh,
Right?
I thought the hashboirin was there was a crack. Wasn't that the crack?
I mean, the water is in that crack. It's standing in that crack.
And that crack is connecting the two sides.
That crack is connecting the two sides.
So when it says that's when
That would be a chibur for mikvah or for tumah. That if someone touches the water in between, it will connect it to the two.
Right. So what if you touch one of the two sides? Would that also act? Or only what you touch?
Right. Right. There's a discussion regarding the previous case. I'm not sure. The chura it is. The chura is a connection because it's compared to nitzoy v'katafos. Meaning, the hashboirin is compared to nitzoy. The only thing that we're saying touching the middle is only gabi mashket tefech. The gabi hashboirin is like nitzoy v'katafos. And nitzoy v'katafos is talk about that there's tumah on one side. It transfers to the nitzoy v'katafos. Nitzoy is in the air. Katafos is not in the air. So the hashboirin will be the same thing. Will be the flip side of nitzoy v'katafos. Omar Avuno, Nitzuk v'katafus mashketefach, we said they're not a good connection for Tumah Tahara. Chibur li'inyan yayin nesach. They do connect for yayin nesach. How do you know that? How do you know the yayin nesach so that the yayin nesach connects through a nitzuk v'katafus? How do you see that? So he says, look at our mission. Before the mission, we'll get to our mission in a moment. We just learned this brisa that says it's not a chibur for Tumah Tahara. It's not a chibur for Tumah Tahara, but it is for yayin nesach. That can be. Can't be that a shboimin, which is a connection to Tumah Tahara, won't be a connection to yayin nesach. That's not possible. So that has to be that we're not talking about yayin nesach over here. No, don't make me arrive from that brisa to yayin nesach. So let's go. So it says we'll say the following. Now, our Mishnah. Nota samashma takes the funnel. He takes the funnel, he puts wine into the goy, and he puts wine into the Jew. Says the one that base im yeshwa kevis yain asor. If you have a kevis yain, which means if there is a place where the wine stays in the funnel, it becomes asor. Ha kevis yain b'may kam mitziro. How does that kevis yain become asor? What makes it asor? Lo b'tzinoik, lo b'nitzoik, meaning that the wine connected from the kli in the bottom. The kli in the bottom belongs to the goy. And you're putting a wine into the funnel that goes into the kli. That wine is touching the small wine that you have in the lip of the funnel. So that wine becomes yain nesach as well. So now, next time I'm pouring wine through the funnel for the Yisrael, it's going through yain nesach, it becomes yain nesach. Because I have a little bit of wine, which is yain nesach. So he says, if you remember this we saw earlier in the Masechta, which means that the wine is, the funnel wasn't in the air. The funnel went into the kli of the guy, he was touching it. So if the funnel is a kli, has a little bit of wine in it, and it touches the wine of the guy, so the wine of the guy touched the wine in the funnel, made it into yain nesach. Now the next thing you pour wine through it, it's touching yain nesach, not because it's nitzoik, but because of pasachta tzorisu, which means he touched the wine. It's like as if it's pasachta we saw before, when you rub off the nose. He's rubbing the wine, he's rubbing the liquid. So the Gemara, 1 second, right? Avaloi mashma over here. Here in this brisa say that we're talking about pasachta tzorisu. Mashma, if it won't be pasachta tzorisu, if it will be only pouring, it won't be a problem. So now we're doing the exact opposite of the diuk. The you see from Rabbi Chia, the fact that he said pasachta tzorisu, then nitzik is not a chibur. So the Gemara, pasachta tzorisu tifshadloch de asur. Nitzik tibai. Pasachta tzorisu is clearly asur. Nitzik, I'm not sure. Rabbi Chia says, whatever is clear is clear. Whatever I'm not sure, we're not discussing in this brisa. Now, Tosfos points out over here, what about the fact, we just mentioned that you have here a little bit of liquid in the end of the funnel. What happens if you have no liquid in the end of the funnel? So that's okay. Why is it okay? I'm using the same kli. Doesn't need to have nikuv. Nikuv, we mentioned a little earlier in Masechta, we'll get to that a little later, you have to clean it up. If I didn't clean it, so it's still dirty from the wine. Right?
There's no residue though.
Oh, so Tosfos wants to say that there's different types of funnels. There's a funnel made out of clay, and there's a funnel made out of wood. The funnel made out of clay does have a residue, always has a residue, and the funnel made out of wood does not have a residue. That's what we're talking about right now. That's what he says. And then the other pshat, he says the funnel belongs to a Jew. The funnel is Jewish. So when the wine goes in there, there's no problem. What's the problem? The problem when he reaches the kli of the guy. So that's only if it's touching. If it's not touching, if I don't have anything, and if I don't have that connection, either through nitzoik or through pasachta tzorisu, it's not a problem. Says the Gemara, Toshma, the next part of our mission. Amarim mikli kli, he pours from one kli to another. Et shemayim and mutor hadeveni veini yosor. So, right, the mashma, whatever you marry, you take from one kli, You pour it from A to B, so B becomes asur. Mashu the between doesn't become asur. The liquid, the nitzik doesn't become asur. Right? Now as Rashi points out, right now the Gemara understands who's doing it is Yisrael doing it. Into a kli of a guy. So Mashu, the only thing that in the kli of the guy becomes asur. But the nitzik, the stream, doesn't become asur. So you see, sorry, I skipped the line because again, the one he's pouring from is mutter. In between, also there's a connection. Right? Meaning, how does it work? Right? You have here kli. You have kli A. You pour it from kli A to kli B. Right? You have kli A to kli B. I have a liquid going from here to here. It's connected. So one wants to bring a raya if it needs to get chibur or not chibur. If it's chibur, so this whole liquid over here is touching the bottom of this kli, and it makes it. Yes. And this is the ayin. So the whatever is touching the kli, this stream becomes asur. And this becomes asur, so also here should be asur because whatever this wine is touching the stream which goes inside. So all should become asur. That's the question of the Gemara. He needs to chibur fil the govi the money namilitzer. What's maktiv ketufi? He's not pouring it in one shot. He's pouring and he stops. He's pouring and he stops. So when you have the stream is never touching this. When he lets it go out, it stops right away. So it's not touching anymore the top of the kli. But the stream is still going into the next kli. So you do it, you stop. So then this one does not become top. Says the Gemara. Okay, but whatever's in between is chibur. So by the time look at the next part of the Mishnah. The inside kli is also. Whatever's in the ear is shari. And don't bring it right from here because you have a steer between the ratio and the sefer. Now this over here leads us to a very interesting nekuda. There is a chakira of the achronim, and it's a big sugya. We'll get into it more on Shabbos after Mincha. I think it's going to be Mincha today, this week, 5 o'clock. There's a very interesting discussion, the Achronim, the Rav Shlomo Kluger and Avoda brings it, also Chassidus brings it. When you say Nitzuk is Chibur, what does it mean Nitzuk is Chibur? It doesn't mean that the bottom, let's start with the more pashto one, the Chur, is, if Nitzuk Chibur means that the top is and the bottom are connected. Why? Because it considered to be that the top is already inside the bottom. Meaning, it's flowing from here to here. You have an itzuk. So I'm saying whatever's in the air is already considered to be inside. And therefore it's also. Or it's the opposite. Because they have a connection, it's considered to be that whatever is here is inside the top.
Both ways.
Which way it works? So
both ways.
That's the daf. In Gimel daf, you have a machlekes between the Ravid and the Ran. If you have something which we're going to see the next sugya, rishon batel. Rishon batel means every drop that goes in becomes batel. How does that work? It has to be that the isser is going into the heter. I mean, you have yain nesach, and you're spilling the yain nesach into regular wine. Every drop that goes into the regular wine becomes batel. That's called rishon batel. Now, so the Ravid learns if you have a nitzoik, you don't see rishon batel. Says the Shlomo Kluger, why not? Because he always needs to, it doesn't mean that it's going from the top to the bottom. It goes from the bottom to the top. Rishon batel is only when the yain nesach is going to regular wine. If regular wine is going up to the yain nesach, you don't have rishon batel.
It doesn't go. How can it go up? There's no gravity.
I mean, it's not actually going up. It means that that conceptually, it's going to be connected to the bottom and up to the top. But the Ran learns, and that's where Ran disagrees, that it just means that everything in the top goes to the bottom. One raya that the Yechezkel wants to bring a raya is from this Gemara. The Gemara says, "Miktiv ketufi," that you stop pouring it. You're throwing it and not pouring it. So he says that means that if stopping from pouring it means he's going to stop it, it goes back to Tosis in Einav on base. So he says just to Miktiv ketufi. So Miktiv ketufi is okay if I'm saying that it's the bottom, the top is going towards the bottom. Because once I have the bottom goes towards the top. So once I stop it, I'm saying it's not going up. There's nowhere to go up. But if the idea is that whatever's on top is anywhere going to go to the bottom, that's what the Chassidus wants to learn. That it means it goes to the bottom. So I don't care that I'm stopping in the middle, but the next drop is going to go in. Who cares if I'm doing a stop in the middle? The idea is that whatever's in the top kli is going into the bottom kli, so it's going to go there anyway. So that's why he wants to say that it means the top goes to the bottom goes to the top. That's what it's saying.
We're talking about interrupting it. I think we're talking about it's not that you pour it and you stop it. I think you just kind of jerk it.
Yeah.
It's never a connection.
There's no connection. Says the Chassid, who cares about connection? If I want to just say that I don't care.
If it's not connected,
Right. So
you can say
that's how the other side will go. That's what the Avoda will understand the right. That the connection makes it put together. Chassid wants to say that if you're learning that way, that means whatever's on top is eventually going to go to the bottom. That's what belongs over there.
Maybe not. Since you start, you
Right?
have to start.
Again, so that's where Shlomo Kluger will argue on the Chassid. That's where he's going to disagree. Shlomo Kluger wants to say that we pass on halacha that the top is going to be going to the bottom. So he mentioned in the Shur Machshava today that this says in Yonei Avoda, it's brought down that when Hakadosh Baruch Hu brings the Shefa to the world, and you have the Kilas Yaakov brings that when you Mesimach Geula Tefillah, you bring all the Shefa of Hakadosh Baruch Hu down to here, and it has the same thing of Nitzik. Nitzik is that you connect, have a connection to above. So there clearly means the Shefa goes from Shamayim down to here. That sounds very much like Avodah in the Ran, that it goes down from the top to the bottom. That's when he's using the same. He goes there to be mechalik between Simach Geula Tefillah and the Tefillah Sapayim. So Simach Geula Tefillah, whatever's on the top goes to the bottom. Tefillah Sapayim, whatever's in the bottom goes to the top. It's two different directions. So you see clearly like that this is the kudah of the Avodah. Okay. So says the Gemara, Toshma, Hame'arim michavis lebor. If someone is pouring from the barrel to a bit, Kiluach ayoyim misfas chavi lamato also, right? Which means the anything again, same idea. Once it left the barrel, so anything in the air is considered to be also. So you see over here nitzik. Now we get to this idea, and Rashi learns in the Mishnah that this is also referring to our Mishnah that the guy is doing it. That's what the problem is. The problem not because of nitzik. Nitzik is the Jew is doing it, and then the stream is connecting the wine in the air to the wine in the barrel, on wine in the pit. He says, no, that's not the case. The guy is doing it. So what's the issue? The issue is that it's koicha shel guy. Even though the guy did not touch the wine, but he moved the wine, and moving the wine is the issue. So he says, so the inside of the chavis should be awesome because he's pushing it. So it's only so derabon. Who the nafka the barei goes to derabon? Who the gavoy goes to derabon? Rabbanon and goy is the only what's outside. That's what inside. Meaning, if communion is like this, if I have a goy taking a bottle of wine and pouring it into a cup, he didn't touch the wine, but he poured wine from bottle to a cup. So whatever is in the cup or in the air becomes asur. Whatever is in the bottle is still mutter. And Tais over here in the bottom goes on to say that you have to be very careful with the koicha of a guy. The guy should not help in any way to move wine, because one minute he becomes involved in with koicha, it makes it asur.
Why did the Gemara answer this earlier when it had the same?
Because the very good. The previous one, understand the one who does was a straw. That's what Rashi said. Now the Gemara has changed to be a kohen.
You were saying, because you said in the Mishnah it was a god. I mean, the god. You were saying in the Mishnah it was only you were quoting Rashi. It
was a maskot, right? And that's the chiddush, because Rashi. This is the good to realize. Our Gemara did not speak about our Mishnah when he said kohen. That was the next Mishnah, or the Bryce. I mean, it was later in the Gemara. It's not our Mishnah. But Rashi learns it refers to our Mishnah, because Rashi says when the Gemara spoke about Yisrael, Rashi says before that Rashi says. Where is it? Clearly, the word is right above the Ois Aleph of Ger Sabach. Rashi said, "Sal kedait b'Yisrael askina." What do we sal kedait? When do we change it? According to Rashi, we change it over here, even though we didn't speak about our Mishnah. But the Maskana now is changing in our Mishnah as well. Says the Gemara, Rav Chizdo la no savito. He told savito. Right, the which is I don't remember what savita means. If it's the woman who's doing it or it's the people that are doing they're dealing with the wine. Ki kailisu, what did they bring over there? Saviso.
he said to those Jewish wine sellers.
The Jewish wine seller, just not a woman, a man, okay? When you're pouring wine to a guy, that's exactly what we said before. Don't pour in one shot, make breaks. Inami nafzi nefutzi. Nafzi nefutzi is another shot. You throw it. Don't pour it, but do like this. Right? Outside. And then when you're throwing it that way, so that's why you don't have nitzuk. So what? You spill it, yeah. Right? Why? Because we were trying to avoid nitzuk. That's Rashi learns. I'm going to roll that now. The ones that pour, the pourers. Make sure the guy doesn't help you. So maybe you will forget. You can make him do the work. And that's also. And that's what Taiz mentions. That if he's helping and he's not really making a difference, it's called Mesayeh and Mamamish. But because we're afraid that maybe you'll forget and let him do the whole work, so we say don't do it.
So Koyach is nothing if there's Mesayeh. There's no Zara.
But Mesayeh is a klal Mesayeh she'ein Mamamish. I mean, if he's doing the
Or just they weren't geyser in there.
no, he says depends. When he speaks in Kotois means the case what happens if it's a child and the guy helps him. So he says the child because the Messiah Hashem Mamamish is out. So he says, what's Gishto Bas Gishto? Rashi says there was the technique that you go and you have like a straw going from one barrel to the other, and you suck the wine, siphon it, and then it starts going by itself. It goes automatically. It just continues. Once it starts going, it goes with no stop. So there was a person who brought in the wine Gishto Gishto. Also, so now the guy wasn't involved until what happened? The wine is going through the straw, and the guy is touching the straw. Asri Rova the Kulacham. Rova says everything is awesome. What is the issue over here? The issue is because the wine is being touched with nitzuk. Meaning, why you oyster all the wine? Because it's connecting through the flow. The flow of the wine that's going up, that flow is considered to be a nitzuk. Right? Just to be clear, he was touching the wine coming out of the gishta. So the wine goes through the straw, goes out, he's touching the wine out. So he says, one thing, how you oyster all the wine? Because he's saying it's like nitzuk. I have like a flow of wine that goes through there. So he says, Shvav you know nitzuk chibur. See what nitzuk is a chibur? Shani also the kuli chamra gishto ba gishto gur. He says there is different. Nitzuk means I have wine being poured, and the shadow is a connection. Here, everything is going to be flowing through this straw. So that's not considered to be it's more than nitzuk. Nitzuk means it's only a connection. Here it belongs over there. Rashi says, it's considered to be like he's not touching the flow, he's touching the wine in the barrel because they're all connected through there. So Rashi learns there's a big kli that there's one straw on one side, there's another straw on another side. Let's see maybe Rashi inside. You have straws on different sides. If it goes up, once he flows the wine up in one straw, it goes over to all the other straws. A few people drink from it at the same time. Okay? So, as long as the Jew is sucking the wine, he makes all the wine go up, and the guy is drinking it. The guy is going up to the guy, but he's not coming back. So, it's only the Yisrael stops, he stops first, so it's still going to the guy's mouth. But if the guy stopped, then a little bit of the liquid that was in the guy's straw goes back down, makes the whole thing yainus. Rabbi Bar of Uni Ikla Be'er Shkaluso, Kit Daz Shkaluso, Sharul Mishnu Bekirishkin, he allowed it. Says the Gemara Fain Gimon Daf, Ikad Amri Rabbi of Una Gufe Ishte Bekirishkanin. He himself did it. So Tay said, how did he do it? What about the Chashash that maybe the guy will stop first? We are allowing Ishkanim as long as the Jew is not saying first, right? And what happens? Xera, maybe the guy will do it. So he says the Kanishkanin story we're talking about over here wasn't with a guy; it was with a Yisrael. So that's the story. It was with Yisrael. So what's the chiddush? What's the problem? So the chiddush is that the problem because of a different problem. Because of simcha. Maybe you have an issue. He brings the Gemara in Pesach Shabbos that we are bachmer not to do too much simcha with wine. So that would be the issue. You did a whole lot drinking with wine. That was the problem. So no, you should know he did it. We mentioned the case of Kiddush Kadim, even though we spoke about a guy, the actual story that we talked about wasn't about a guy, it was about Yisrael, because if not, you'd be machmer not to take that risk. So we'll stop over here, continue from here, Be'ez Hashem on Shabbos.